The Modern Warfare Gunfight Alpha came early yesterday, not too surprising. I was planning on playing it for the weekend and coming up with some thoughts at the end. Well, change of plan. I think I've already experienced enough after a day, so I'll just talk about it now. This is a very bare-bones version of the game after all, only 2v2 gunfight mode. Up front, I'll just say, if you're someone who doesn't have access to a PS4 and can't try out this alpha, you're really not missing much. I know the feeling sucks, I'm mainly on PC myself now, and that's where I'll be buying the game. I'm just lucky to still have this old thing lying around. Sure, it was neat to get my hands on it, finally give it a try, and I had fun, but I already don't plan on playing a whole lot more. I know not everyone is the same way with the RPG mindset, but for me there's no hook right now, no progression, no stats, and not much variety, nothing much to explore, just a whole lot of the same thing. It's fun to get on and play with a friend, but not much else. To be fair, I only played on 3 maps, but having 2 more added won't change my experience much. On Thursday we had King, Pine, and Speedball. I assume they'll be adding the other 2 over the weekend to keep it interesting. This morning though, they said they added Speedball, which was already in the game. I think they meant to launch with Stack and add Speedball today, so whoops. Oh well. We could even see some night versions. That would be cool. For example, we saw a nighttime King in the RTX trailer, and at the end of a match on King, it says King Day in brackets, so there clearly is a night variant. I could take or leave the other 2 maps, but the night vision would be fun to try. I'm not going to delve into specific critiques about weapon balance or bugs. I've seen plenty of people doing that in places where devs might actually be watching. They aren't watching this video, so no need to cover that. There were guns I grew to like, and others I did not, but all these things I'm sure are going to be tuned further. The stim shot thing I still think should not be as good as it is. I know that the healing is automatic in other modes, and in Gunfight there is no healing whatsoever, which I like as well, unless you get the tactical healing item in your class. Just pop that thing and boom, full health. Seems a bit too quick to me. If someone gets you down to 10 health and they rush you, you can way too easily jump back up to 100. I think it should either give you a boost of 50 health per use, or it should activate health regen, so it takes a few seconds for you to get back to full, but that's a minor tweak they can make, and at the end of the day both teams have it, so you can play around it. The biggest takeaway from the alpha was the chance to get a feel for the movement, the speed of running and mantling, sliding, melee, all that, and the handling of the weapons and equipment, because that's something you get a feel for more by playing than watching. And I know people are a bit scattered on that. We've got some more realistic animations now, and the pace has been turned down a bit, but that means it gets called clunky a lot, not as fake and smooth as you're used to seeing in COD. I found it to be perfectly fine. It is definitely a slower game than any we've had recently. Can you run around and get kills though? Absolutely. It felt pretty good. My biggest problem is trying to separate the clunkiness I'm feeling from going back to a controller from the game itself. Because at the start I was thinking this is pretty rough. It's all a little sluggish. I don't feel like I have full control over my movement. I feel like my awareness is limited. Then I realized that was really not the game's fault. I was just not used to being on controller with a low FOV. I got more used to that the more I played. It made me especially dislike the King map though, with the containers down the side, the raised platform, the tunnel through the middle. That layout, combined with the footstep audio being more focused on realism than being able to easily directionally pinpoint someone, King felt like a fever dream at times if I wanted to do anything but patrol around the edges. With that extra bit of verticality, if you're running through the tunnel for example, there are tons of angles you want to be able to quickly flick to and check. Wasn't a big fan of that map. I think I like it more with a mouse. I enjoyed Speedball and Pine much more, where I could move around and mostly keep enemies in my field of view. Bottom line, I think I need to wait to be back on PC to get a really good impression of the movement in this game, but I think it'll feel good. Just gonna hope it doesn't give too much power to camping. That is a slight concern I have. It all ties into the trade-off between realism and video game balance. I'd say that's a major theme with this entire game. They're putting more emphasis on realism than we've ever seen in a Call of Duty game. It's still obviously COD and not a milsim, but from the sound engine to the movement, the weapons and ballistics, like it's nice that shotgun pellets don't completely disappear after 10 meters, I think this shift to modern realism is a really fun thing to try. I like this direction, but it is a fairly big change, and I have a feeling for many people it will not be their cup of tea at all. There's really not a lot I have to say about the alpha being only gunfight. It's a cool mode, but it's not gonna beat out my fond memories of Modern Warfare 3 face-off, sniping away on a ground. Gunfight is cool as a competitive thing with the bracket system and all of that, everyone having the same random setup each round. I like the concept. But the maps are all too similar to me. I know I had this critique before, and I know everyone and their mother is saying, bring back Getaway, that was a cool face-off map. I know this is not a unique opinion to have, but I really do feel like there was a lot more room to maneuver as a duo in those face-off maps, and that allowed for a lot more strategy. I think there's a lot of potential for other 2v2 and 3v3 game modes with flags and bombs and kill streaks and custom classes, not just straight up elimination on these tiny maps with very predictable cover strewn about, and where you practically spawn inside of each other every round. Obviously a respawn mode would not work on these maps. You already don't have many choices when picking where to go. Even if all they did was take existing maps they have in the game for 6v6 and block sections of it off, or cookie cutter out some parts of a 20v20 map to have face-off style games. Some people would complain about recycled content, I'm sure, but if it's that or nothing, I'm absolutely on board with that. I'd love to see something that is a bit more opened up, because this gets old very quickly. Gee, it almost sounds like I'm describing the regular game at this point. Yeah, I guess so. Does there need to be a middle ground between gunfight and regular 6v6? Maybe not. Maybe just throw that whole rant in the garbage, because all I'm doing is stating the obvious, in that it was easy to get tired of gunfight pretty quick, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the game. To be honest, I can't say I agree with the decision to have this alpha. Now, I'm not a team of marketing experts, I'm an idiot who plays video games, but I can't help but feel like this is spoiling the hype for the game more than it's building. To have purely gunfight running for an entire weekend, it gets boring. Maybe not for everyone, I'll say again, but same tiny maps with similar random classes. I can understand there's no reason to have any level progression, but maybe a basic win-loss stat would have been nice to add some reason to keep playing, just to flex how much alpha you played and make you care more about the win. I don't think I'm alone, and I don't think you want to associate your game with boring. Not to mention the large number of people who can't even play it. Everyone exclusively on Xbox and PC, for them the alpha isn't boring, it's just annoying. Hope they got a big Sony paycheck for this, because then we've got a big beta coming up too. In a few more weeks, that'll be 1 or 2 full weekends of that, depending on your system. Then after another month, the launch itself. At that point, I'm gonna feel like I've been playing Modern Warfare for a while. The fresh feeling will be long gone. But this is not as big an issue as I'm making it out to be, because the parts of the game I'm most excited for have yet to be seen much at all. Whatever's gonna come of Spec Ops and the co-op gameplay, the campaign I doubt I'll be playing at launch, but it certainly has me interested, and there'll be a much greater variety of multiplayer modes, maps of all sizes, and like I was saying before, I play for the grind, that's obvious by now, not only challenges and camos, but the progression and the unlocks, the customization, delving into the gunsmith, putting together class builds. I'm not any less hyped for the game because I got bored of gunfight pretty quick. We did see some calling cards and emblems though, plenty of them being animated. I'm actually not a big fan of that. It suggests that animated stuff isn't gonna be treated special, and I prefer when it is. I like seeing a moving calling card and knowing that that guy put some time in, did a big mastery challenge of some kind. I'm sure nobody cares about this but me. Alright, that's Gunfight. Cool to try it, but not a big deal if you can't. The mode is pretty repetitive, but I enjoyed the core gameplay, and that's really all that matters. So I'm looking forward to the beta when we'll have some more progression to explore, and of course the full release when it'll be permanent. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, whether you were able to try it or have just been watching the influx of gameplay from the sidelines. I'll catch you next time.